I hate to break up the party, but I'm going to call this meeting the Oskaloosa City Council to order. Today is Monday, June 15th, 2026. We start with the invocation from Lifehouse Community Church.
Pastor Adam Kyle from Lifehouse Community Church, 1513 South Market Street. I'm just going to read a passage out of Acts chapter 4. Peter is on trial in front of the Sadducees, and he's filled with the Holy Spirit, and he says this: "Let it be known to all of you and to all people of Israel that by the name of Jesus Christ the Nazarene, whom you crucified, whom God raised from the dead, by this name, this man stands here before you in good health." Verse 12, "And there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven that has been given among men by which we must be saved." Please bow your head, close your eyes, and pray with me. Oh Lord Jesus, we're so grateful for you, Lord, and your rescue mission that you came and you succeeded, Lord, on the cross. We're so grateful that our sins have been wiped away. All we have to do, the catch is that we believe in you, that you're the Savior of the world, and give our lives to you. I pray for our city in Oskaloosa here. God, we're a bunch of sinners, and we need you. We desperately need you, not just for salvation, but God, for quality of life. And you've appointed these people here, the city councilmen, the firemen, the policemen, the public works department, and all of the other workers, Lord, to not only protect us and provide for us, but to run this city. And I pray, God, that your Spirit be with them and move them and remind them, Lord, of their duties and their responsibilities. But God, would you just watch over their families and keep their homes safe, and always, always, Lord, hear their cries. In Jesus' precious name, amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Harmson. Holmberg.
Here.
Ibrahim.
Here.
Sword.
Here.
Allman. Here. Caligiri.
Here.
Stross.
Okay, thank you. First item up is the opportunity for community comments. This is an item that is reserved to receive comments from the community for concerns whether or not they're on the current agenda. The community is encouraged to speak before the mayor and city council. Asked to keep statements brief, time limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions are to be asked to the city staff, council members, or the mayor prior to speaking to the full council, so concerns can be properly researched and perhaps answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and city council. The protocol we have is that for anyone wishing to comment, there's a yellow slip that needs to be filled out ahead of time, and then the mayor would call to the public using those slips. None were submitted tonight. I just want to verify that there was no one here who didn't understand that. Okay, moving on. Next item up is the opportunity to swear in a couple of police officers. First one is going to be Officer Greg Varda. Greg Varda was born and raised in Oskaloosa, Iowa, graduated from Oskaloosa High School in 2015. Following high school, he enlisted in the United States Army, where he honorably served as an 8-year contract, before transitioning back to civilian life. After his military service, Officer Varda worked in Vermeer for 7 years before deciding to pursue a career in law enforcement. He's excited to begin serving and protecting the community he's called home for his entire life. In his free time, Officer Varda enjoys hunting, spending time outdoors, and being with family. He's proud to begin his law enforcement career with the Oskaloosa Police Department and looks forward to serving the citizens of Oskaloosa. But in order to make that happen, we have an oath of office. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Drake Barta, do solemnly swear
I, Drake Barta, do solemnly swear
that I will support and comply with
that I will support and comply with
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Iowa,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Iowa,
the charter, laws, and ordinances of the city of Oskaloosa,
the charters, laws, and ordinances of the city of Oskaloosa,
the rules and regulations of the Oskaloosa Police Department,
the rules and regulations of the Oskaloosa Police Department,
the law enforcement code of ethics,
the law enforcement code of ethics,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of my position as police officer to the best of my ability.
as police officer to the best of my ability.
Welcome aboard. Good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think we swore in too. I heard her back there taking notes.
Officer Gideon McKee. Officer Vandekeep was born and raised in Pella. He graduated from Pella High School in 2024 and went to Iowa State University for a year, before transferring to the University of Northern Iowa to continue pursuing a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. After 2 years in college, Officer Vandekeep decided to pursue a career in law enforcement and applied to the Oskaloosa Police Department while continuing his bachelor's degree. He's scheduled to graduate in December. In his free time, he enjoys working out, playing disc golf, and spending time with fiance and family. Officer Vandekeep is excited to start his law enforcement career and to help the great city of Oskaloosa. Officer Vandekeep, would you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Gideon Vandekeep, do solemnly swear
I, Gideon Vandekeep, do solemnly swear
that I will support and comply with
I will support and comply with
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Iowa,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Iowa,
the charter, laws, and ordinances of the city of Oskaloosa,
the charter, laws, and ordinances of the city of Oskaloosa,
the rules and regulations of the Oskaloosa Police Department,
the rules and regulations of the Oskaloosa Police
the
Department,
law enforcement code of ethics,
law enforcement code of ethics,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of my position
discharge the duties of my position
as police officer to the best of my ability.
as police officer to the best of my ability.
Welcome aboard.
There we go.
I'm good. I saw that.
It's easier getting up 10 years ago, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I sure did. All right.
See you, Mayor.
I did it all on my own. I'm a big boy now.
So proud of you.
What's that movie with Adam Sandler, Big Daddy?
Yeah.
Okay, moving into the rest of the agenda. Next is the consent agenda. These are all items that are routine in nature. They'll be moved and seconded on a single motion. The only ones I wanted to call council attention to was item M. This is a resolution scheduling a public hearing on the vacation and sale of a 60-foot by 8.25-foot east-west alley adjacent to 706 High Avenue East. That hearing will be on July 20th. Item N is an ordinance amending the Oskaloosa Municipal Code. This is the third reading of that. Item O is the third reading of the no parking restriction on First Avenue West. And item P is the third reading of the City Park Code as adjusted. So do we have a motion of support for the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Holmberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Hermson.
Okay, that passes. Getting into the next part is the announcement of vacancies we have on various boards and commissions. The Airport Commission has a vacancy for a term ending in December of 2028. The Building Code Board of Appeals is a vacancy for an ex officio member. Planning and Zoning Commission, there's one vacancy for a term ending April of 2027 and one vacancy for a term ending in April of 2030. The Arts and Culture Commission, we have 9 vacancies, 3 for a term ending in December 31st, 2026, 3 for a term ending in December 31st of 2027, and 3 for a term ending in December 31st of 2028. The Library Board of Trustees has a vacancy for a term ending in June of 2029, and the Historic Preservation Commission, we have 1 vacancy for a term ending in December. So getting into the regular agenda, first up is a consideration for a proposal for the fiscal year 2027 property liability, automobile, equipment, deductible buy-down, and workers' compensation insurance. Margaret Ratcliffe, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening. I promised Joe that I would keep this under an hour.
You said 15 minutes.
Well, I am so delighted that tonight we get to talk about the premium went down instead of going up. I know it's the first time in many, many years. So it decreased a total of $33,000 for the next fiscal year. And that savings is split between the city and the YMCA. We allocate the premiums out for accounting purposes. So out of that $33,000, $17,944 is for the city, and $15,579 is the savings allocated to the YMCA project. The YMCA project costs are split out on the spreadsheet as we go down. So the insurance package for the city reflects an expected increase of 6%. It's a little bit under the 8% that we budgeted for that they told us about last fall. And the majority of that increase came from rate increases in general liability, umbrella, and law enforcement liability. Oskaloosa does remain in the best rate tier. So thank you for that. And then there's also a credit of $1,600 each year. Remember all that Lexapol training that the police department went through? And a lot of documentation. You know, it saved money. And so thank you for doing that. However, whenever there's lawsuits that incur legal expenses, that does impact the entire safety group. So property insurance rates have improved. There were only a 2% increase in that category. But they still have a wind and hail deductible of 1% per building. And so what that means is that it applies to 11 buildings that are valued over $1 million. The premium to buy that wind and hail deductible down from 1% per building, which is a possible potential deductible of $1,144,000 if you had a catastrophic loss and every city building was destroyed, which probably isn't going to happen. But we bought it down to $10,000 per occurrence, and that premium dropped $58,000 this year. And everything is tied directly to catastrophes. You know, and even though we still hear of storms and we still hear of problems, there's a ripple effect, and we were actually a little bit surprised to see some premiums come down because many times things go up quite quickly and it's hard to see them come down, but this one did drop. So we'll be very appreciative of those savings. Your property coverage remains written on a blanket basis, and what that means is that you have a bucket of coverage that totals $111 million. And that's for all your buildings and your structures. And for instance, if this building would be completely destroyed, I believe it's on the statement of values for about $19 million for the city hall and the fire station. If it was completely destroyed, well, the library would probably go with it too. But for instance, if it took $25 million to rebuild this building and we had it listed on the statement of values for $19 million, that's okay. Because you can apply that bucket of coverage to whatever building needs it as long as you don't go over the total $115 million. So we actually insure the buildings for 90% of what their total value is because of that fact. It's very rare that a community has every single city building that's destroyed. So, and it's a way to save premiums, and it works well. The cyber insurance premium remained flat at about $94.48. We could go to $2 million, but it's $13,500. And that's been kicked around for a while, and felt that $1 million is a good amount. However, there's a funds transfer sublimit in there for $250,000, and I recommended to city administration that we increase that to $1 million. They had quoted me $5,000. The actual cost came in today at $4,750. There's another couple $100. You're welcome. You know, we'll take it wherever we can get it. But we have had several incidences in the last 4 months where some things have happened. We had a vendor invoice that was submitted for payment, but it had an altered account number on it. You know, the vendor invoice came in and they paid it to the account number that was on there, and it was a wrong account number. We had another email that was intercepted, and wire transfer information was altered. I mean, these guys are really brilliant, but they're totally misdirected. But that right now is a hot button. You know, for a while it was extortion, and so they increased the limit to $1 million on the extortion automatically. This is a current thing, and we've seen some real ones, let's say within a 50-mile radius. We've had instances of checks being stolen within the mail system. However, the city does have some things in place to prevent some things. I think you've got positive pay, so that, you know, if a check isn't scheduled to be paid, the bank's going to raise a red flag. We'd honestly rather see, and you have, I think, multi-factor authentication and things that are front line. And I'd rather see money put into that than put into insurance to pay for something after the fact. But you can only do so much, and they keep coming up with new things. However, that's a recommendation. I would highly recommend you increase that to $1 million for $47.50. I don't mean to save you money and then try to spend it another way, but here we are. Your workers' comp premium reflected a slight increase, and that's based on payroll. The experience mod dropped a wee bit from 1.03 to 1.02. Work comp claims stay on there for 3 years, and we're in year 2, so next year that's going to roll down even further, and we hope to get back to that under 1 point, which we were at for quite some time. But it is an area that I'm so excited that Alex is in charge of the safety committee. The work comp premium is something that the employees can actually impact. So the more you focus on safety, and IMWCA is really impressed with what you guys have done here with safety. So the more focus there is on safety, and it's top-down driven. If they're safe and if we don't have losses, it's there for when there's accidents. And we want everybody to go home safe, though. And, you know, if they can stay safe, the premium's going to come down. You can stay as safe as you want, and your property premium's still going to go up. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but work comp is directly connected. And we keep the work comp coverage with IMWCA because they have the most credits of any work comp carrier out there for municipalities. And Oskaloosa's lost that loss-free credit, but you'll get it back, and it's 25%. You know, a 25% credit is pretty hefty. So we'll get back to that. Third-party claims administration and company nurse is still administered by IMWCA, and that's $1,000 this year. The YMCA project costs, yep, right there, that reflects all the property and liability costs for each fiscal year. So the pool renovation builder's risk policy that was written in January of 25, it runs from January of 25 to September of 26. And there was a total premium of $50,500 paid in January 25. That was a one-time payment, so that isn't reflected in the 25 and 26, because in July of 26 it was, or 25, it was already paid. That's not a recurring charge. When we moved that project onto the EMC property policy in September, as we're expecting, okay, that's going to be a joyous day. And so if it cancels before September, we'll get a little bit of premium back, but then we'll charge you a little bit more premium to add it onto the EMC policy, but the rate will be much less. So, but I still wanted to remind you that had been paid. That's a big chunk of money that was paid in January of 25. So they've got their property coverage, their liability coverage, and then there you can see up there that their deductible buy down, it reduces their deductible from $369,000 down to $10,000 per occurrence. And their premium this year is only $15,000 instead of the $32,000 it was last year. That's a really nice reduction. So the total of all your insurance costs, last year it was $558,000, and this year it's $525,000. That's the $63,000 for the YMCA, and then that $426,000 from the city is a nice little reduction of that $33,000. Now for the icing on the cake, I was able to deliver a check to Pam this spring for $40,224, another dividend check. So how it works is the EMC program is allowed, they partner with IAMU, which is the Iowa Association of Municipal Utilities, and they can make 5% profit. And anything over the 5% profit, they send back to the members. They insure just under 500 communities in the state of Iowa. They specialize in communities under 15,000. So they've got a big chunk of them, and so they were able to send some nice dividends back. So we added them all up, and it was $141,000 since we moved there in 2018. So if you remember, we spent 4 years trying to get into the program, and so here's some of the benefit of it. And that goes along with having access to Attorney Connect and company nurse with IMWCA. So there's some other benefits that hopefully save some money too. Those are my highlights. Joe, you're on. You know, and I can go through, and I think I sent an email to both of the new council members. I'd be happy to sit down with you. I did with Abu, and I can go through it line by line with you. I don't think we want to do that here because it'll probably prompt some other questions. And I want you to understand what you're paying the money for. And anybody else. I mean, anybody that wants to talk about insurance, you know, here I am. No, but it is important for you to understand what you're spending the money on, and we want to make sure that you do. Does anybody have any questions on what we presented? Okay.
I'll ask mine. General advice. We went through a hailstorm last week. Do you have any general advice to anyone who's listening tonight or anyone in the audience as to if they have some damage to a car or to their home, what they should do?
Call their agent. Ask them.
Call Wendell or me. And ask your agent what your deductible is, because you may or may not have comprehensive coverage on your vehicle. You know, if you've got an older vehicle and you've got just liability, well, then it's going to be on you. If you have some people have $1,000 deductible, but you can rack up a high repair bill with hail damage. Hail claims generally don't count against you on a vehicle policy, so unless you have a rash of them, you're probably going to be fine. I would call your agent and I would turn it in. If it's on your house, if you have a metal roof, you might have a cosmetic damage exclusion. You might be on your shingle roof too. But unless it's compromised and unless it's leaking, you may not have coverage for it. You may have a roof that looks like a golf ball, but you may just have to live with that until it starts leaking. But I'd call your agent, check and see what your deductible is and see what they advise. And they're good to tell you, hey, you've already had 2 other hail claims this morning, and you had a really bad one in May of 23. And so, you know, maybe we need to hold off on this one. And then get an estimate on it. And if it's on your house, call every contractor you know. Get a contractor as soon as you can, because if there's a lot of hail damage, it's going to be hard to find a contractor. But yeah, thanks for asking. Okay.
Other comments? Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah, thank you.
Item B.
Oh, did we?
It's a resolution.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's such a good deal. Yeah. Who wants to take credit for making the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Hermson, Holmberg,
Yes. Okay, that passes. Item B, it's a request for a vacation and sale of a 240-foot alley, 16.5-foot north-south and 256.5 by 16.5 east-west alley in the 800 block of A Avenue West. And so the staff had received a vacate request from Wendell Campbell for the 120-foot by 16.5-foot north-south alley and the 191.5-foot by 16.5 in the 800 block of A Avenue West. Mr. Campbell owns multiple properties that are adjacent to the alley, including 811 A Avenue West and 207 North G Street, and is in the process of purchasing 807 A Avenue West. The property owner has listed his reason for the request to vacate the alley adjacent to the properties as so they can combine the lots to redeed the entire parcel for future development. The subject alley is located in a community commercial, which is known as a CC zoning district. Planning and Zoning Commission considered the request at their meeting on June 2nd and recommended approving the alley vacate by a vote of 5 approving and 1 denying. Staff conducted a survey of the property owners and the utility companies who have direct access to the portion of the alley. 6 neighboring property owners were surveyed, 3 responses received, 2 owners are interested in buying their portion of the adjacent alley, and 1 is opposed, saying that 2 of the alleyways are our only access to the parking beyond the property and the garage access. Opposed, but if it passes, please contact us for purchase options. So at the time of this writing this memo, there were 4 utility companies that responded that do have infrastructure located in the alleys and would require an access easement if vacated and sold. Mid-American Energy, Lumen, Mediacom, and Oskaloosa Water Department are all listed as having services in the alleys, and staff noted that a majority of the utilities are through the east-west segment of the alleyway. For the north-south segment, directly between 807 and 811 A Avenue West, all of the existing utilities are on overhead lines or poles. And so staff is recommending the council approve the request, only vacating the requested north-south alley between lots 6 and 7 due to the amount of utilities in the east-west alleys and the conflicting access of adjacent property owners. This does require a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak?
It was the petitioner, Wendell Campbell, 818 High Avenue East. I was able to speak to the one property owner that had sent in the postcard saying they did not want it sold today. They were concerned about access to 808. The current utilities are in east-west through those alleyways. I think we can be, we have no intention of moving any of the infrastructure that's there. Basically talking with Sean in the building department, the purpose for buying these alleys is building setbacks start at the property line, and where we sit right now, we could start that 16.5 feet, to the north or south, based on those east-west alleyways there as well. But talking to the Sterlings who own 808, we'd be willing to do an easement access agreement for them to make sure. And like I talked to Alicia this afternoon, that will always be an alleyway or at least a pass-through with the building there. One for fire access to the back side of the building, but 2, potentially a drive-through around that building and utilizing that north-south alleyway as well. So, yeah, looking to combine all 3, 811, 807, and 207 into one larger parcel. We'd worked with the city a few years ago here on the 207 parcel when we purchased that. So just looking to move that forward. Been something we've been trying to do for 15 years and just been patient with it, and now seems to be the time to start moving forward with some of the things. I know Borman Faulkner has the abstract on 807. I believe it's been sent over for abstracting, so we're just waiting on that to be completed so we can close on that parcel. But same thing, the north-south alleyway between 811 and 807, I contacted Mid-America. I talked with their electrical engineer. That would actually require a reroute of that secondary transmission line all the way from High Avenue all the way to B, and at the expense of me, the developer. So I'm not interested in doing that, at least from the hip when he shot me a price on what that would cost to do. Water infrastructure, I'm not sure, at least from what I've been told, the water main is on the south side of A Avenue, and I'm not sure that there's water in that east-south, or that east-west alleyway that's there. I think you said earlier there's maybe an easement for that. I'm not aware of anything underground. For my knowledge, I think water, sewer, and everything all flows to the front and is either in that first or second lane of A Avenue. The water main, I believe, is all the way on the south side of A Avenue. There's an existing water shutoff for 811. They're in the yard, but they never, the contractor, when they demoed that house, they did not go all the way to the main, which was across the street, and disconnect that. So there is still a water service there that we could tap. And there's a gas service, I believe, in 811 right behind the pawn shop, right behind Nick's as well. So, yeah, we're just trying to, help revitalize part of what A Avenue can be here for the future. It's going to take a sizable investment, but this is the first step in combining this and getting a lot where we can build on. But I would welcome any questions from the council on. Sure. 807, that's the contract for purchase I have. They'll be closed here by August was the agreement that we had with the Barnards. I don't believe Rick would. Yeah. So Mary Elaine, it was a life estate situation when Jack passed away. Mary Elaine's been taking care of it, and she passed away back in October. So I say I've been trying to be very patient on this because talking to Rick, I had an offer to buy the building about 5 years ago, and his comment to me was, Wendell, I'd love to sell it to you, but then I couldn't go home for Thanksgiving. And so I said, okay, we'll just, all in God's time, we'll be patient with it and figure out when the best time is. And then after she passed away, Rick being the only child, one of the first stops he did was come and sit down with me and said, now's the time, so let's move forward with this. So.
Wendell, what do you need to do to placate the, I don't know if I'd call it concerns, but the interests of the owners of 808?
Yeah, the Sterlings.
Yeah.
I talked to Alicia this morning. Actually, the original email that came through for the planning and zoning meeting didn't have the right date on it, and I didn't have it on my radar, so I wasn't able to attend the planning and zoning hearing. Her comment was the access to the garage, that garage that is there on the back of 808. They do access it off of that east-west alley. They do still have the north-south that could get through there. You have to pull through the yard. And I don't know that they use that garage a lot, but it is a one-car garage with an overhead door. And so my comment to her was, it's always going to be an alley. Again, we have overhead infrastructure there with electrical lines and things like that. So if anything, we may end up paving the alley with the development of the building, so making it easier access for them. Her concerns were basically, if we move forward with that, she'd like to see some sort of easement agreement writing. And I said, that's no problem. And it's always going to be some sort of access, or at least some sort of roadway or pathway to get there. There's not going to be building there. There's not going to be something impeding that. In the event of commercial development, and I'm not sure with the current zoning codes if they require any sort of fencing or anything like that, but if we were required to do fencing, we'd have to put a gate or something like that in so that they could access that. Currently, the current tenant, I don't know that they use it on a regular basis, at least from what I see during the day. I'm there between the hours of 9 and 5. But that doesn't mean they don't use it in other times of the day. So we would work with them to say, if a fence is required or something like that, we would create access for them to get in and out of there. It's not a problem to have that easement agreement done.
Thank you.
I just make a couple of quick comments. The water that's involved, you're correct. There's no water main. There's actually a private service that runs, I believe, from North G Street. I believe it's for 808. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it's a private service. That's why the water main, the water is indicated on there, but without the water main. And then just so council's aware, the request that was made was the kind of lighter orange segments, the darker orange segments, just because we're vacating an alley and because of the process, it's easier for us to just add it in the beginning and remove it at this time if we decide not to vacate it. So that's why those, what was actually requested and what's different. So not vacating the north segment certainly is pretty trivial. That was really never asked for. The east-west segment, I do think it is viable to vacate it. I don't think it is something that would create a tremendous problem, just given how many utilities were in that segment. That was why the recommendation was specifically for the segment between 811 and 807. But I do think vacating the east-west would also be acceptable, especially if it's going to be left accessible and even driven, paved to be drivable.
And you're referring to what's between 206 and 816?
That and also what's between 810 and 808.
Okay.
Those two segments were not requested, but we as staff added them just for simplicity of if we wanted to vacate all of the alleys at this time.
I'd love to help buy some excess property from the city so you can afford Margaret's insurance premiums. Any little bit that I can do to give a little back, I just feel it's my service to do so.
So I want to make sure, Sean, so we're just voting on the lighter yellow, or the orange, or whatever you want to call it. We're not calling, are you calling the whole?
Ultimately, it's up to the council what segments that you want to vacate. The recommendation that I made in the item was specifically to vacate only the portion between 811 and 807. With that said, I do think it would be reasonable for the council to vacate the entirety of first of all, that, and then the entirety of the east-west segment. I think if we vacated those, that would be a reasonable thing to do. I would probably recommend against vacating the segment between 810 and 808, specifically because two properties are using that for access.
Yep.
So basically, what's in yellow, vacate.
Well, also
What's between 816 and 2.
yeah, the property owners at the west end had indicated
They were into it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's,
Okay.
we are going to,
thanks, Sean. Okay, yep,
if we are going to vacate the east-west, I do think it makes sense to do the entire east-west.
Okay.
yep, okay. And they were good.
Entire east-west and the south.
Right.
Yeah.
Nick would probably take that at 206. I tried to square mine off with what he had at 206, and he wasn't real, because there's about a 10-foot swath. That used to be a backyard, and he had purchased it from an estate way back when. So trying to square off 811, I thought, well, maybe I could, and he was like, well, maybe you could give me 10 feet of 811, and I'm like, so we can make do with what's there. The unfortunate thing is the overhead line between 811 and 807 will create, probably two structures at some point. I'd love to build a new building on 807, 207, and then maybe a standalone office on 811 at some point as well. Not perfect, but long term, that may be what has to happen, just because the funds to move that secondary transmission line, it's just not going to be in the cards for development. So.
John, in the description is the 240 feet for the north-south, so that's the light yellow, and it stops with the darker orange, we'll call it.
The 240 feet, the description that was on the item setting the date for the resolution includes all of what's highlighted, both the full north-south and the east-west.
Yeah, 240 should be the entire width of the block.
Okay.
Right. So if the desire was to do the entire east-west and the part between 811 and 807, I believe that should be 120 feet. So we'll have to modify the description. None of the resolutions that I wrote were written that way, but I think as long as we understand the council's intent, we can rewrite that resolution.
And that little square gets kind of lost in there because the lots are 120s, and then you've got a 16.5 foot alley that's in there. So the full width of the lot's probably 256 if you want to get down to stacks on it. But yeah, I think the intent of that was basically just the lightly shaded orange or yellow. I don't want to stay on here if there's somebody else that wants to talk to this. I just thank you guys for your time. I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Wendell. Anyone else who'd like to speak tonight? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Open it up to the council. Do we have a motion, and what?
I'd make a motion that we would close it except for the between 808 and 810, just for the access. I know those two properties, and they do both use that alley, so I would make everything but that north-south between 8 and 10.
Okay. Second. Okay, the second from Abu. Any comments?
You guys need any more clarity than that?
I think that's good.
There you go.
Roll call, please.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Hermson, Holmberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword.
Yes.
Okay. Gets us to item C. This is a resolution adopting our commercial industrial urban revitalization plan. The resolution adopts The plan for the city of Oskaloosa, authorized under Iowa Code Chapter 404. It's intended to encourage rehabilitation, redevelopment, and economic development in designated commercial industrial areas. If adopted, the plan establishes multiple revitalization areas throughout the city, including industrial parks and selected commercial corridors. Property owners within those designated areas can apply for temporary property tax abatements on the value added by eligible commercial or industrial improvements, subject to program requirements and limitations. I'll open the public hearing if there was anyone who would like to speak to this tonight.
What does this entail?
Okay, please come up to the microphone, please.
Jim Van Donsler. My address is 2588 Queens Avenue, Oskaloosa. And I was just curious what this Revitalization Act entails.
Yeah, so the city has a program for this already right now. It's the tax abatement. So basically, if you fall in this area, you can get a certain amount of, like if you make an improvement that's 15% increase of your assessed value of the property, and you see that increase, then you currently can get, for the example, in like commercial property, it would be on the first year, 70% tax break on the new value that was improved there, and then 50% and 30%. So it's an existing incentive, basically, for commercial and industrial. And what this will do is it's kind of updating the amounts that we're providing as an incentive. So hopefully it spurs some additional growth in the city because of it. So what it looks like when it's done, it would be industrial and commercial would have 100% for the first 3 years instead of that 70, 50, 30. So making that a better incentive. And then you could also choose to have, it's a 10-year sliding scale. So it goes 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 40, 30, 30, 20, 20. And then that's basically the reason we got to those amounts is that kind of taking an analysis of a lot of other, just a lot of different communities and what they're offering. These amounts are what the state currently allows you to go up to, and I think that's why there's quite a few communities that ended up with specifically these amounts. And so just to be competitive, that's why these amounts are provided in there. So does that help?
It does. It does answer a lot of my questions. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
One thing, if I may.
Yeah.
So I know Sean spent quite a bit of time. We've had different areas where you could have commercial, industrial tax abatements. But this aligns, basically, if you were to look at our planning and zoning map of current locations for commercial and industrial, it's adding in more locations, so it's similar to our current zoning. And so that basically, for those that maybe were missing those opportunities that are in those areas that we'd like to see grow, now they have that opportunity. So I think to me, it's a pretty exciting change, and this is kind of our last piece of the puzzle of all of our incentive changes. This is the last one. So, and this one was particularly a lot of work. So good job to staff for doing it. But that's all.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to me? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion of support for this?
Move. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Hermson, Holmberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item D, is consider an ordinance designating the commercial industrial revitalization area. This is part of Chapter 404. It implements the Commercial Industrial Urban Revitalization Plan as approved by resolution of the City Council. It establishes the legal boundaries of the revitalization area, and provides the framework for the commercial industrial property tax exemptions. So it will formally designate the commercial industrial area. It repeals the previous commercial industrial urban revitalization area ordinances. It updates section 15.40050 of the Oskaloosa Code of Ordinances, so it references the new commercial industrial urban revitalization plan and area, and then it also repeals some obsolete provisions in 3.12. Ordinance itself does not authorize any specific tax exemptions. Those will be administered in accordance with the commercial industrial urban revitalization plan adopted by the City Council. Any future exemptions granted under the plan would result in temporary reductions in taxable value as authorized by Iowa Code Chapter 404, but intended to be encourage new investment and increase long-term property valuations. Staff is recommending approval of the first reading of this ordinance. Do we have a motion to that?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Hermson, Holmberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Algieri,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item E. This is to consider a resolution amending the 2080 agreement between the City of Oskaloosa and Oskaloosa Community School District. So the city has previously entered into a 2080 agreement with the school district back in August of 2025 regarding a school resource officer to serve at the schools, sometimes referred to as an SRO. The city has been advised by the grant management specialist for the U.S. Department of Justice in the Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services that the agreement previously entered into should, however, be amended. And this would be in order to meet and to satisfy the COPS hiring program requirement that the agreement needs to specifically address issues of. First off, the signature of the law enforcement executive, which would be the chief of police. Also, a statement stating that the grant-funded school resource officer will not be a disciplinarian. And finally, that clears the roles and responsibilities of the school and school districts in the law enforcement agency that's identified under the award. So staff is recommending that the council approve a resolution authorizing the execution of the agreement, amending the previous 2080 agreement, specifically addressing the concerns that were noted, and to meet the COPS hiring program requirements. Do we have motion of support for this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this?
When this gets updated, Sean, could you send a copy of the agreement to me or the rest of the council?
Any further comments? Roll call, please.
Holmberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond, Algieri,
Yes.
Hermson.
Okay, that passes. Gets us to one of the more fun parts of the meeting lately. You know it's good when Stu steps to the microphone with a smile. Let's talk natatorium, shall we?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and City Council.
Our June update for the Mahaska County YMCA natatorium. Our walls, so if you recall, the other side of the rec pool has been painted some time ago, and we now have a matching wall on the other side of the glass. So first picture on the left is first coat, second picture second coat, and then the third picture there to your right is the completion of the wall section. Go ahead. Just some miscellaneous progress here. The next slide will kind of, well, we'll go to this slide and then we'll explain more. So just, like I said, miscellaneous progress. The one on the left-hand side is what we refer to as a duct sock. So that is so that our HVAC can run. It will run from the top, and then air comes in and goes out at the bottom. And then just some more pool pumps and getting to the exciting stuff of installation of piping and that sort of thing. And then I guess, second from the right is our pool decking tile. That is in the competition pool. So progress is underway there. That is as of about noon today. And then on the other side is the right-hand side again is just some more progress. Lights and speakers for the competition area. And you can go ahead. And so the reason for kind of capturing some of that is as we get to the 82% completion is what I threw up there because that's as of the pay app that you approved earlier in the consent agenda. Progress is going. Sometimes it's just hard to capture all of that, and they're kind of working in one area. And so there's small steps, but not big aha moments. So next steps, again, just continue on the pool deck tile. They'll keep making their way around. Shortly, they will begin coating and painting the competition pool instead of just your concrete look. And then we have already started it, and we will continue to coordinate the filling of the recreation pool, which at that time then will remain filled for when we're ready to open. So coordinating that, making sure piping, all the shutoffs are in place, that sort of thing, and trying to align that with the state so they can come do their test and balance on that. And then the last one I just threw on was the installation of bleachers, because that's probably the next step in the critical path. If Alex, do you actually want to go back to the tile picture? So where that ladder is where the bleachers will go. And so the tile had to go first, the bleachers go next. We need the bleacher folks to get out, and then the next one. So just kind of threw that in because that's the next critical path, and they'll be in this week to begin that. So any questions? Okay. We have not. I've been asked if I would join a committee for that, and in talking with Sean a little bit, we would like the Mahaska County YMCA to kind of take the lead on that, but willing to sit in on the committee. And I think their board and interim director have had those conversations of what that's going to look like. If it'll be grand opening, soft opening, chamber diplomats, ribbon cutting opening with a big extravaganza later or what, but it's been discussed, and I'm willing to sit on a committee if that's what they'd like.
Finishing date, if you will, still what?
Yeah, so substantial completion August 28th, final completion September 28th, 26th. Yep. Still on task.
And still no issues, nothing unforeseen, that sort of thing?
Nope, nothing out of the ordinary. I'd say that Canco hasn't said, oh, okay, we'll get that corrected, and next day, no. Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay. Gets us towards the end of our agenda. Reports from city staff, city manager.
So on July 6th at 5 p.m., we're planning to do a study session. This is the effective city councils and municipal operations. We'll watch one of the videos, the executive director that had put that training on, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. July 14th at 6 p.m., we'll have the joint meeting with the school board at the George Daly Auditorium. I think everyone but one person can make it, so that's good. We'll aim for that. Tomorrow I'll be reaching out to all of you to set up a time just to chat if I haven't visited with you recently, kind of my monthly reach out. And then the last one, I've been visiting with Hubble. They want to do a groundbreaking here pretty soon, but it's been a little tricky with the weather and when they can get started with that. So I'm just kind of waiting for them as soon as they give us a date and a time, and we'll get that whipped into shape, hopefully. If for some reason that doesn't work out, then we'll aim for doing a grand opening when they're done with that. So anyway, if you get a short notice, hey, this is happening tomorrow, you'll know why. So we're there to help them out, and the chambers especially is helping us with that. So that's it.
Okay, very good. City clerk.
The fiscal 27 budget has been certified.
Yeah. Well done. City Attorney?
I would have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Council members, Abu?
Nope, not tonight.
Rhonda?
No, thanks.
Okay.
I'll shock everybody and shout out to Sean and Public Works and the Street Department for doing some of the things they've done, in particular on, let's see, B Avenue West and North, I want to call it L, but had quite a few people interested in that once they found out I was on board, and so you guys got it taken care of. Thank you.
Joe?
Yeah, we had a little incident today on C Avenue North. Yeah, C Avenue. LDI's garbage truck decided to break a hydraulic line and it opened up and everything came out on the road. Luckily, he wasn't that full. But I want to thank the chief and who was that?
I don't know, from the street department.
Yeah, street department. He came out with a little front loader to got another truck, got it off the street. It was quite a bit, so got it all cleaned up. So they did a great job. It didn't take long, really. So quick.
Stuff you don't
I
anticipate.
don't have anything.
Gavin? Okay, and I do not at this point either, and so moving on, there is the opportunity for closed sessions, plural. The first one is to consider holding a closed session under Iowa Code Section 21.5.1C to discuss strategy with legal counsel on a matter that is presently in litigation or in which litigation is imminent, where disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the city's position. The second one is a closed session under Iowa Code Section 21.5J. That's to discuss the purchase or sale of real estate, where the premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price that the governmental body would have to pay for that property or reduce the price that the governmental body would receive from that property. It's a little unique that we have two closed sessions following the meeting. And so, City Attorney, do you have any advice on motioning and getting in and out of these?
We can roll that in together in just a single motion.
Okay.
Rather than two.
Okay. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Closed session.
Second from Joe. Roll call, please.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Hermson, Holmberg.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's also some additional language.
A magic language.
Yeah.
Acting pursuant to the requirements of the Iowa Public Information Board, I would state and indicate that the closed session to follow is for the dual purpose of discussing legal strategy in a pending matter with counsel, acting pursuant to contract existing between the parties, and for the further purpose of discussing the purchase or sale of real estate where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price we would have to pay for the property or reduce the price.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll go into closed session at this time. Council, you're welcome to come to the mayor's office. There will be, well, the usual refreshments.
Water.
Water. We are back out of closed session. There being no further action to be taken by council, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.